Dragonslayers Rescue Mission. Squad Sparkle on the move. Search Day 3. Shining Armor was sleeping in his seat in the upper compartment of Sparkle 6. It wasn't very comfortable, but for this mission he would have to make do. He was just about to turn around in his seat when an unusual noise woke him up. Armor let his senses spread throughout the Slayer and form an image that resembled his eyesight. There she was, knocking with her single front hoof against the shatterproof glass that divided the upper from the lower compartment. Her empty eyes were fixed on him, waiting patiently for him to react to her presence. There was no need for him to do so, but old habits die hard, and so Shining Armor turned his head as if he was looking at Rainbow Dash. It hurt his heart to see her like this. There was nothing left of the once energetic mare that he had come to know. When she saw that she had his attention, Rainbow Dash turned her head to the side, opened her muzzle and pointed at it with her hoof. Shining Armor knew all too well what she wanted. He had taken care of her ever since he had killed those Pegasi that had done this to her after all. "You're hungry, aren't you?" he asked nonetheless. The mare nodded in response. There was no vigor in her movements, however. Her head just went down, slowly, then back up again. It was so painfully slow that he regretted his decision to ask her, even if he knew what she wanted. He took a package of rations from the smaller compartment behind his seat, taking one of the plastic packages out and emptying its contents into a bowl, which he handed to Rainbow Dash after pushing a button to lower the wall of glass. For a moment she looked disappointed as she saw the grainy substance in the bowl, but dug in after that moment had passed. While she ate, Shining got a small bottle of water out of the storage compartment and filled some of it into a Fold's cup. Rainbow drank all of it in a few long gulps and then looked at him while tilting her head to one side a bit. Shining Armor knew exactly that it was a bad idea, but he sighed and nodded anyway. Rainbow Dash took her helmet off and started to climb through to his seat. It was difficult for her with only one functioning leg, so he helped her with his telekinesis. Her hind legs, which had been cut off just below her haunches, moved as if she was trying to move into a comfortable position, but only her right foreleg functioned at all, so it took her a moment to settle down on his lap like a cat. Rainbow Dash was afraid when she had to sleep alone these days, and knowing that he was nearby was not enough to lessen her fears. Only bodily contact with him, or any other pony for that matter, calmed her down enough to be able to sleep at all. The only problem, as he knew all too well, was that it could happen that she had nightmares. If that happened, she started to flap her broken wings and foreleg around, hitting everything she could reach. In the first week after he had rescued her, he had gotten a black eye from her as a thank you gift, yet he was not too worried about it. He had a spell at the ready should she go berserk. Just as the two of them settled down for a nap, the radio crackled to life.
"Sparkle 1 to all units. Sparkle 1 to all units. Take defensive formation. A horde of undead is on their way here. I repeat, a horde of undead is on their way here. We must defend this base at all costs."
Captain Frostmane's voice came over the speakers in his helmet. Rainbow Dash had also heard the message and went back to her own compartment as fast as she could. Before the wall of glass closed behind her, she threw a look over her shoulder that looked sadder than usual. Frostmane called up a screen that showed a map of the camp and saw that the most undead were at the southern part of the walls. They had undoubtedly been drawn towards the magics they used to power the Slayers. A smaller group was gathering at the western wall.
"Sparkle 1 to Sparkle 6. You guys go and take care of the group that is gathering by the western walls. The rest of us will fight the ones that are coming from the south,"
she ordered, even though she knew that Shining Armor outranked her.
"Sparkle 6, confirming orders,"
came the cracking voice of Rainbow Dash, and she saw that the green dot of Sparkle 6 was moving.
"Are you ready for this?"
she asked her partner, who was sitting in the lower compartment of Sparkle 1. Candy Cane was a little nervous when she asked him.
It's my first real fight, but I think I should be okay. You just concentrate on keeping us well supplied with magic. I wouldn't want to end up like your predecessor."
He tried to joke about it, but it sounded to Frostmane as if he was seriously worried about that possibility. Her predecessor had led this very squad into battle shortly after the outbreak of the curse. His fate had been to be stranded with 5 other Slayers, because the unicorns powering them had run out of magic. Not only that, but they had died because of an arcane burnout. The surviving pilots had been trapped in the massive machines, since the emergency hatches had been damaged in their fight. In the end, the surviving half of the squad was forced to retreat and leave their captain and their comrades to their fates. She would have never admitted it to Candy Cane, but the Earth Pony was right to be worried. If this fight drew on for too long, she wasn't sure if she would be able to keep up with the amount of magic that was needed to keep it moving. She decided then and there that she would use the emergency eject button to catapult her partner outside, should she feel that she was running too low on magic. "No need for both of us to die," she thought, when she connected herself with the Slayer and felt how the machine began to suck out her energy, with a hunger that reminded her of a hungry foal sucking on its mother's teat. The 5 Slayers walked over the walls on the southern part of the camp, trampling some of the undead under their enormous feet. There was no order to engage, nor any reason to give one. The medical cannons that were mounted on their right arms started to rain down hell upon the undead that were approaching them. Mystique could hear her partner breathe heavily through her helmet speaker as they continued to fire on the approaching horde.
"Hey, are you okay?"
she asked him over the intercom, holding the fire momentarily.
I think I'm running low already. Forming medical projectiles at this speed needs a lot of energy,"
he replied between pants.
"All right, I'll stop using the cannons then. You just let me know when you feel like you're fainting, all right?"
There was no answer. Mystique knew that her partner was concentrating hard to keep the Slayer moving and didn't want to disturb him. Instead, she switched communications to the radio.
"This is Sparkle 3. We are running low, engaging in close combat,"
she reported, and the sound of cannons being fired all around them ceased. The literal carpet of undead that lay before them was impressive, yet the ones that were still moving was dampening Mystique's spirits quickly. One great disadvantage they had when they fought anything smaller than a dragon with these things was that the cannons were quite inaccurate. They could rain down medical projectiles on a horde of enemies and decimate the numbers of living ones, but these ones were already dead. Only a headshot was able to take them out, and managing these was close to impossible. Sparkle 3 drew the 5-meter sword that was mounted on its back and started to move forward. Sparkle 2, 4, and 5 mirrored the motion, starting to slash away at their opponents. Sparkle 1, however, stood still, doing nothing at all. "Frostmane, hey! What's up back there? All the consoles have gone dark!" Candy Cane hammered against the glass wall that separated their 2 compartments, yet there was no answer from the other side. Suddenly, all the consoles lit up again.
"I'm sorry, Candy. I guess I should have slept when I had the chance. Go on, I think I can go a moment longer,"
she panted over the radio. Candy worried about his partner. She hadn't slept since they had left the base, and now it was taking its toll on her.
"Are you sure? The others seem to handle the situation just for—"
he started to say, when an explosion lit up one of his screens. Immediately he turned around to take a look. Sparkle 5 was burning on its right side, and the arm on that side was lying on the ground.
"This is Sparkle 5. There's a large group of undead unicorns in this horde. Several of them have concentrated their fire on us. Diamond is currently holding up a shield spell, but I don't know how long she can hold it. Requesting permission to retreat immediately."
A stallion called over the radio.
"Permission
Candy wanted to say, but was cut off by Frostmane.
"Permission denied. If you can't wield your sword anymore, then trample them. Run through their ranks. I don't care what you do, but we can't afford to lose this camp,"
she shouted into the microphone. Candy disagreed with his partner's decision, but could understand what she meant. Reinforcements were already on their way from Dragon Base 1, and he would hate it if they just came here to find the camp overrun by the undead.
"Sparkle 6 to Sparkle 5. Retreat, Sparkle 5.
Came Shining Armor's voice over the radio.
If your combat capability is compromised, then you will only be a burden on the battlefield. Western Group has been terminated. Sparkle 6 en route to take Sparkle 5's place,"
he continued. Candy was not sure on what authority the pilot of Sparkle 6 overrode the orders of their captain, but Sparkle 5 didn't seem to mind. They turned around and started to walk back to the camp. Their movements were slow, and he could tell that their Slayer had been severely damaged.
Sparkle 3 reporting in. We are running low. We have to retreat as well.
Sea Cloud's voice said.
Sparkle 4 here. I don't think we can hold out much longer either,
said Red Eye. Frostmane slumped in her seat. They were losing. Again.
Acknowledged. All units retreat to base,
she ordered, tears starting to form in her eye. Just before Candy turned their Slayer around, however, a pure black Slayer entered the battlefield. She recognized Sparkle 6. It had its twin blades in both hands and was cutting through the hordes of undead faster than the 5 of them combined had done, while they had held up the cannon barrage. Only a few minutes later, the rest of the horde had been eliminated. "Just who the hey are you really, Rainbow Dash?" Frostmane asked, as she stared at the carpet of shredded undead.
Sparkle 6 reporting in. Returning to base. Going to sleep mode,
Rainbow Dash's voice reported in, while the rest of the Slayers watched in awe as Sparkle 6 moved behind the walls and into standby. None of the outer lights were on anymore, and it looked like the corpse of a giant as it simply sat there, not moving an inch. Frostmane didn't want to imagine the strain that this had caused on Shining Armor, but she knew that the general had an enormous supply of magic. It was rumored that he had once held up a shield all around Canterlot for days. She knew that she would have broken down after less than an hour. Okay, every pony, what do you think about this chapter? It's Squad Sparkle's first encounter with the enemy. To Frostmane's credit, I must say that she is a recently promoted captain. She was a way lower rank before. But in times like this, on-the-spot promotions, well, yeah, and she was actually pretty much the only one who wanted the job. What do you think about her strategy? Charging in with the Slayers, risking arcane burnout. Would you have done the same, or would you have used a different tactic? I mean, I know what I would have done. I wouldn't have tried to destroy the enemies in ranged combat from the start, because, well, as it is described here as, I think it was Mystique, or... Yes, I think it was Mystique who said that it is a great strain for them to... No, not Mystique, it was Sea Cloud. Mystique is a Pegasus. That it is a great strain to form medical projectiles at that faster rate. Because you must imagine these cannons that they have on their right arm, on the upper half of their lower right arm, are magical, and they shoot medical projectiles similar to the spell that Sweetie Belle used to defend herself against the undead. And forming these projectiles in at a pace like a machine gun is, well, straining for every unicorn. And I wouldn't have used that, at least not against the horde, against a group that is in my way and that is not much bigger than maybe 1,000 of them, maybe, but not against a really big horde, because it would be too much of a strain for the pilots. What would you have done? What do you think about Shining Armor taking care of Rainbow Dash? What do you think about her being crippled like that? What do you think about, well, about the combat capability of Sparkle 6? Sincerely yours, Visual Pony.